to Scarborough Fair. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there. He once was a true love of mine. It's time to make me a cambric shirt. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Without no seams nor needlework, then he'll be a true love of mine. It's time to find me an acre of land. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Between salt water and the sea strands, then he'll be a true love of mine. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there. He once was a true love of mine.
Boom. Hey, good evening, everyone. It's Bill, and you're watching Late Night on Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures, and it's good to see everyone tonight. We're going to do Popeye, And good Lord, is the chat popping tonight. Let's see who's here. Let's see. We got Sue Studio came in really early today, and she says, "Hello there, Bill. Hope you're well. Went to Major Thursday while the power was out and checked out the toys. They had some He-Man vehicles and figures. Cool. You have to tell us what you found." Schmebelok says Bjorn Jorgensen. Manic Plastic comes in. Hopes everyone had a great Saturday. My Saturday's been great because I didn't have to work today. Yay. Manic Plastic says he got the Motu lot off of eBay. The legs are broken off, but he's got them for cheap. And he can fix them. That's a good thing. Always fun, says Bjorn. Just sub to you, Bjorn. Yeah, it's sub to everyone. Heck, that's what I'm all about. Hello, everyone, says George Valentine. Good to see you, sir. Bjorn says, thank you. Going to try to get some stuff up, make a big space station diorama. Cool. And Manic Plastic's got a new webpage. Y'all go check it out when you get a chance. Johnny Sorensen says, got in my old Super 7 Muckman and Mondo Gecko this week. Beautiful figures. Good deal. And Susudio says hello to everyone and me and my co-host. Who else is here? Wilhelm Toy and Hobby. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. And, of course, there's our old friend Joneser, who will be with us shortly, along with the unmasked maniac, Johnny Sorensen. Hey, OBS, good to see you. Good to see you. Gojitron's here, and he brings spinach. Eternian Limps, a.k.a. Sir Clifton, is here. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing good. And I Like Salt is here. Good to see you. And OBS is saying hello to everyone. And so is Sue Studio. Everyone's saying hello to one another, getting on down the line here. I think I've got everybody covered. Did I miss anybody? If I did, let me know. I think that is everyone. All right. So, real quick, let me bring in my co-hosts for tonight. We'll start with Joneser.
What's up, everybody? It's Joneser, your favorite comic book guy. So let's do this!
What up, Joneser? Let's bring
Okay, well, blow me down, I says.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one tonight, man. Let's bring Johnny in real quick and let's get started, man. All right, here we are.
Hey guys.
Got all of us in here. Let's see, got one more comment here on the chat. It's just OBS saying hello to the Manic Plastic. All right. So, real quick before I get started, what I want to do is I want to address something with the chat. As you know, channel subscriptions are open, and I can take super chats. But just be aware. Right now, YouTube is holding my funds because my identity has not been verified with them yet. I'm waiting on a PIN number from them to come in the mail. It should be here within the next 7 days, hopefully. And then I can finish my address verification. And I've also got to finish getting my tax documents done. Apparently, my name doesn't match my driver's license because it omitted my middle name. It's stupid crap like that only a computer would do and not a human being. But anyway, so if you send me the super chats and you do channel memberships, remember, I'm not going to get that money right away. But if you want me to get the money right away, there's always other ways to do that. And that is through Streamlabs. If you send a tip on that, I get all that money. YouTube doesn't get any of it, and I get it immediately into my PayPal account. But however you want to send it is fine with me. I'm more than happy to take it, and I appreciate every bit of help that I get on this channel. Thank you so very much to everyone who has. And real quick, let's hit the comment section and check out who's here. Bjorn says a couple of old Mezco Popeye figures are in the shop. Those Mezco figures were really sharp, and I remember when they came out, and I missed them out. May I pay you Tuesday for a super chat today? Yeah, and you're also invited to a duck dinner. You bring the duck. And Johnny says Bill is one of a kind. He can't be no robot faker. Damn you, YouTubers. Yeah, YouTube's is just something else. All right, so I want to get on and get started with this slideshow because we've got a big show tonight, and it's going to go on and on and on. I'm afraid if we don't get started quickly. So let me get us over here and let's pop in a slideshow and let's get a going. I'm gonna bring Johnny up here. And I'm going to let you stick around, Joneser, but you know you got work to do, man, and it's going to be me and Johnny.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Here's the first slide, Johnny, and what I want to do is I want to do it a la our old friend Largo. When I get through with this slide, you'll read the next one, and then so on and so forth. All right, so I'm gonna stop looking at everything except the screen on my side. So I'm not going to see anything except the chats that you might pop up there, Joneser.
Yes,
And here we have now, folks. I'm gonna pause on this for just a minute. This is our title card. Weird Fantastic Toys presents Popeye, and I had to point some things out to Joneser. Now he saw the King Joneser Syndicate thing in there. But I'm the one who noticed that the copyright date down there says NWO for life, and I think you've outdone yourself today, Johnny. I really do, man. You did an excellent job with this. So I'm going to send you a big shout out on that one. Okay.
Johnny's muted here. Hold on a second.
He may have to unmute himself.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
There we go. There
I
we
said
go.
too much Mad Magazine was a kid. They always snuck things in little print that nobody read. That I was that little nerd that was like, what are they squinting looking at?
I was the same way. I was the nerd that read all the little stuff that you couldn't see otherwise. All right, here we go. Go, Johnny.
Oh, jeez, pressure. I'll probably mispronounce things due to my hybrid accents. Elsie Chrysler Seagar. Popeye, yeah, they said it's like cigar. Popeye's story began in 1929 when he made his first appearance in Thimble Theatre comic strip by cartoonist Elsie Chrysler Seagar. Initially, Popeye was a supporting character, but his popularity quickly grew, and he soon became the strip's main focus.
The strip followed the adventures of Popeye, Olive Oyl, and other eccentric characters in the fictional town of Sweet Haven. And Popeye's distinctive traits, such as his muscular physique, one-eyed squint, corncob pipe, and a unique way of speaking, captivated readers.
The Thimble Theatre comic strip featured many characters. Popeye went on to star in animation, comic books, and merchandise, becoming a true American pop culture icon.
And just as an aside, this is the entire cast of characters here. And Joneser, I told you about Granny. There she is down there at the bottom.
Jesus.
Yeah, she looks like Popeye in drag.
Basically.
she's a little shorter than Popeye and Pappy are. But yeah, there she is. And moving to the next slide. Thank you, Manic Plastic. I'll take a look at that, and if at all possible, I might even get it on the show. Now, this is very interesting. This is the first strip. In his first appearance, Popeye is hired by Castor Oil and Ham Gravy. And Ham Gravy was Olive's first boyfriend before Popeye. And matter of fact, Ham Gravy and Olive Oyl were the first two characters of Thimble Theatre, which is the name of the strip, by the way. It wasn't Popeye, it was Thimble Theatre.
Yeah.
And he was hired to crew the ship for a voyage to Dice Island. And I don't know if you included this or not, Johnny, but the reason they were going to Dice Island was there was a casino there. And castor oil had Bernice the Whiffle Hen, and if you rubbed your feathers on her head, you got good luck. So he was going to use the Whiffle Hen to cheat in the casino with all the good luck and win all the money. But to get there, he had to buy a ship, and he had to get a sailor to sail it because neither him nor Ham Gravy knew how to sail a ship. All right, next one. Go ahead, Johnny.
Yep. In addition to his mannerisms and Popeye speak, Popeye is shown to have abilities beyond that of a normal human being, such as bullets not harming him.
And that brings up another point, real quick, before we go to the next slide. Originally, when this trip was going on at this time, and they were on their way to Dice Island, Popeye's ability to withstand bullets and his super strength was attributed to the luck that he got from rubbing Bernice's head.
Not from spinach.
This later became spinach, but it wasn't until later on, as the strip evolved a little further. Popeye's status grew beyond the syndicated King Features newspaper strips and into animation, bringing him wider exposure and many new fans. Popeye became as well known and for a time even more popular than other animation and comic strip icons of the era.
I love seeing those characters there because, like Popeye, the second voice, the guy who was in it for a long time, voiced Felix the Cat, married to Betty Boop.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
In 1933, the Fleischer Studios brought Popeye to life in a series of animated shorts. These cartoons showcased Popeye's incredible strength, his love for olive oil, and his eternal rivalry with the burly Bluto. The cartoons were known for their energetic animation style, catchy theme song, I'm Popeye the Sailor Man, and the humorous portrayal of Popeye's battles and adventures.
The animated shorts were highly entertaining and made great use of physical comedy and upbeat music that flowed in rhythm with the on-screen action. The movie shorts often used visual motifs and gags well established in the era of black and white silent movies. The shorts established many tropes used later in animation and comics and gave us the memorable voice style of Popeye that the various voice actors over the years would continue to use.
Fleischer Studios was run by brothers Max and Dave Fleischer, and they're very well known for the Superman shorts, of course. The Fleischer Company, they were competing with Walt Disney and doing high-quality animation, but behind the scenes doing technical innovations constantly at both companies, and they would be aware of each other's what was going on and kind of leapfrog over each other and steal each other's kind of technologies behind the scenes. So they were known for making high-quality, smooth animation. Max Fleischer was also known for his innovations in animation invention of the rotoscope, which is that black and white picture on the right there. Fleischer Studios were known for animating Popeye, Superman, and Betty Boop cartoons, and also say that some of the early Disney cartoons and shorts, they were fairly violent and had some racing material in them, but the Fleischer stuff was a bit more mature in a lot of the themes and stuff they're putting in there, but still accessible to all ages.
Well, one of the things that you have to remember was the comic shorts were actually shown in movie theaters before the movies that adults would be watching. So this had to appeal not only to children but to adults as well. And during my research on this, I watched a couple of those Fleischer cartoons, and there's one in particular that I didn't get to watch all of, but the very beginning of that looked almost like it was filmed with actual models on a table as it panned across like an airfield, and you could see the airplanes and the hangars.
That was some of the things the Fleischers did in their early stuff. They did use some actual models and combine footage from animation and live action as well as the rotoscoping. The Fleischer cartoons are a favorite in the Joneser house. I bet they are, man. But anyway, moving right along to the next slide. As Popeye's popularity soared, the character made his way into comic books. In 1932, Popeye appeared in his first comic book, published by King Features Syndicate. Over the years, numerous comic book series
series featuring Popeye's escapades were released, further expanding his reach and fan base. Popeye's comic book adventures often involved him battling various villains, overcoming obstacles, and, of course, triumphing after eating a can of spinach.
Popeye comic books were published for many decades from such publishers as Dell, Gold Key, King Comics, Charlton in the Gold and Silver Age, and in modern times IDW's are the new series, and some really high quality reprints of some of those 50s and 60s comics, as well as several volumes of the newspaper strips, the black and whites, the color Sundays, and also been published by Fantagraphics and IDW, nice big modern hardcovers. That some of those you can still pick up on Amazon and that now for a reasonable price, and they're beautiful books that don't fuck with the art or the coloring. They show like a facsimile edition where it shows the original coloring and lettering without modern digital fuckery messing it up.
That's nice, and I do agree with you. A lot of times when they digitally reproduce it, they do go in and fuck around with the color and the lettering. It messes it up. Now let's talk about Bud Seigendorf. Here he is. Forrest Coles Seigendorf, aka Bud Seigendorf, was an apprentice and the successor to L.Z. Chrysler Cigar on the Popeye newspaper strip. Bud will become a prolific writer and artist of Popeye comic books across various publishers and a major contributor to Popeye lore and characters. Seigendorf's stories would sometimes be in long form and have more high adventures, as well as gag strips, not unlike Carl Barks and Don Rosa's Duck comics, that expanded well beyond the animations of the era into full, rich stories.
Yeah, and just touching on that topic, that's something I'm a fan of all of these things. I'm more of a casual fan of Popeye, but now Bill's got me. He's got me right in here getting the good stuff. Something that's similar in the Seigendorf, Popeye, your Carl Barks and Don Rosa, Scrooge and Donald Duck stories, and also Floyd Gottfried's Mickey Mouse, is that they really expand the whole world and a lot beyond those original shorts and Disney stuff. Scrooge in particular. I mean, anyone's watched DuckTales. You've seen all the extra side characters and stories and all that. It's very much like Tintin and European comics and Japanese comics and Astro Boy. You get big, full adventure stories and Indiana Jones and science fiction and fantasy and all kinds of cool stuff happening. And it really makes them far richer than just the cartoon shorts, which are fantastic in their own right, but they're for limited, short attention span. The comic stories really get build up these beautiful worlds that stand up for decades for all ages. So I'll read my actual slide and I'm done waffling. So Seigendorf stories would sometimes be in long form, have more high adventures as well as gag strips. Not alone. Sorry, it's the same text from the previous one.
Well, that's okay, but it expands.
There's more to get the images in there.
It expands on that because well, we can talk about that a little bit because Seigendorf started out as an apprentice to Cigar himself, and eventually he began doing the comic books, and that led to him taking over the strip itself, starting with the Sunday page and then moving on to the daily as well during the late 50s and early 60s. Now, there were several artists and writers in the meantime after Cigar's untimely death, but when Seigendorf took over, he took the strip back to the way it was when Cigar was doing it, and even brought back some characters that Cigar had touched upon. And one of the things that he liked to do was he liked to tell stories, and his sense of pacing was much different from Cigar's sense of pacing. Cigar would tell a story in a couple of weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks on Sunday pages, and the story was over. Seigendorf, on the other hand, the story could last 6 months to a year, with each strip really delving into what was going on and stretching the story out quite a bit and going into a lot of detail. So that brings us to the next slide. Popeye's popularity extended beyond the pages of newspapers and comic books. Merchandising quickly became a significant aspect of the Popeye phenomenon. And down here in the middle, on the bottom, you see the Popeye doll there with olive oil. I have that Popeye doll. I had it from when I was a kid, and it's in that box.
Nice.
And I wanted to show it on the show tonight, and it's in here somewhere. And I had my hands on it about 5 weeks ago, and I put it somewhere so I would remember where it was. I don't remember where I put it.
I've done that so many times.
So I don't get to
I
show
lost
it.
this book for 10 years and found it again this week.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah, that's how it goes. But anyway, I'm glad you put this picture into the slideshow, because that doll right there is probably one of the first Popeye merchandising that I ever got. And it was hard to get Popeye merchandising when I was a kid. I mean, I had a few. I had a Bendy figure that came in a spinach can along with an olive oil, which I don't know what became of that. That's lost to time. I never had any of the lunch boxes or anything like that. But as you can see, the art on each one of these items here is done by Sagendorf. Sagendorf was like the George Perez of Popeye, basically. Anyone wants a Popeye shirt that says "curls for the girls"? I refuse to wear it, and I don't know. It said that when I bought it. Well, that sounds more like something that Big Papa Pump would say. "Curls for the girls." And next slide.
Oh, yeah. From toys and games to clothing and collectibles, Popeye's image was emblazoned on a wide array of products. Children and adults alike embrace the merchandise, allowing them to express their love for the spinach-powered sailor. From overpriced statues to weird bootlegs, I'm looking at you, Goku, getting choked on the bedspread, and disgustipated oddities, the official and unofficial merchandise is prolific.
Absolutely, and there are some overpriced statues of these, and there are some new figurines that with modern posing abilities that are coming out.
Yeah, they got the boss fight ones and the Mezco.
The boss fight ones are
really
the ones
good.
I'm looking at. The Mezco ones are the ones that I really want, and we were talking about that earlier.
The Mezco have closer to the art style with the 5 POA and minimum cuts, whereas the boss fight's more articulated, but you got more ugly joints in it.
Yeah. I remember when those Mezco figures came out, I almost bit the bullet on those and bought them at Toys R Us back in the when they came out. But I thought better of it at the time. I had a wife and daughter, and she was a little kid, and money was tight, so I didn't do it. And I wish now I kind of had. But hey, you know, over the years, Popeye continued to feature in animated adaptations, both in television and feature films. The character's cartoons went through various iterations with different animation studios handling his adventures. In the 1960s, Popeye's popularity was reignited with a series of TV cartoons produced by King Features Syndicate. And in 1980, Robin Williams starred in a live-action film as Popeye. So the Fleischer Studios was bought by Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing Paramount did was fire the Fleischer brothers and get rid of them.
Yep.
And they changed the name of the studio to Famous. And the cartoon style also changed because World War II had started. So Popeye and Bluto joined the Navy. And that's when Popeye quit wearing his blue shirt with the red collar on it and began wearing a standard Navy white sailor suit. And so did Bluto. And this continued after the Famous stopped doing it, and then King Features picked it up with their Saturday morning television show. It was around this time that the King Features had thought that they had lost the rights to the character of Bluto because they thought that Paramount owned that, when in reality they actually owned it themselves. Because
that was a fun little side story, though.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a little while. I've got a website that we're going to look at about that. But anyway, after the 60s, now there was a revival of Popeye in the 1970s, late 70s into the early 80s. Excuse me. And this was done by Hanna-Barbera Studios at the behest of King Features. This this comic cartoon adaptation harkened back to the Seagar era and brought back some of the characters that were seen in the Fleischer cartoons that were done away with by Famous Studios. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit too, because I've got some gems to show y'all from that. Okay,
Okay.
here's the next one. Go ahead.
Okay, and this one, I'm indulging my nerd lore here because this is something I kind of knew about for years, but had been sort of rumored, but not really verified for about 20 or more years, really, for people to get into the history of video games and that. Around 1980, Nintendo began to develop a video game featuring a construction site with ladders and barrels. That's the internal document on the right there in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
The hero in this game would travel from the bottom plane to the top plane while avoiding obstacles hurled down at him by a big burly brute who had kidnapped his girlfriend. The intended star of this video game was to be Popeye. However, the license was never fully approved, so new substitute characters had to be developed by Nintendo to continue work on pre-production of the game. Those characters would become Jumpman and Donkey Kong, later named Mario and Super Mario in subsequent games. And in 1983, Universal Studios sued Nintendo, claiming Donkey Kong was a trademark infringement of King Kong. He's obviously like a generic King Kong style character, but the suit fell flat. When it was revealed in court, Universal Studios owned no copyright on King Kong and considered him to be in the public domain.
I'm with Jones. This is new information for me as well, and I did not know
I've known that for a long time, but the document on the right, the black and white, that's the thing that actually verifies that it was true and not just it's been like a kind of rumored thing for many years.
And that's interesting because eventually a Popeye game was produced, and it kind of bared a lot of similarity to Mario in the way it was set up. Moving on to the next slide here. In 1981, Donkey Kong was released to arcades. In 1982, Nintendo did get the license for Popeye and created an entirely new arcade game. The Nintendo Popeye video game proved popular and was converted to many home consoles and microcomputers of the era, including the Nintendo Entertainment System. And as you can see, they pretty much used the same cabinet for it. Same Donkey Kong cabinet was used for Popeye, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, because you had the same guys behind the scenes basically design both games.
Pretty much. Next slide.
Okay, the Popeye arcade game featured well-drawn sprites and attractive cab art overlays. The home console version sold well enough for more Popeye-related games to be released in the future on Nintendo's Game Boy and other companies' rival console machines and computers throughout the years. And this was the tail end of that sort of late 70s, early 80s Popeye revival. We had the cartoons, there was more merchandise made. There was another show made called Popeye and Son that we will never mention again, and you will not see any pictures in the slideshow.
That show in my mind doesn't exist, Johnny. That show
doesn't exist.
No.
But you've got cool stuff. You've got the Game & Watch. That's a decent Game & Watch game. The Game Boy, Popeye, and Popeye 2 are quite cool. Over on the right, I'm not sure. I think it's like the Intellivision version or Atari version of the home version of the arcade Popeye, where he's got the going on about muscles and doing aerobics, mate. I thought the ads were great too, just using the good art in the ads for the games.
All right, and moving on to the next slide. Popeye's impact on popular culture. Yams. Undeniable. His legacy continues to grow. Little boy kids and girl kids get excited to discover his adventures or plays his video games while enjoying some spinach.
All right. And I think the panel on the right there, you've got to read what he's saying in there. I think it just sums up Popeye so
What
well.
is your religion? Says the doctor. Of course, that looks like a psychiatrist there. He says, what is your religion? I treats everybody right, even if they steps on you. Suck them. What are the best, California or Florida oranges? I got readers in both states. Do you drink? I refuses to answer on account of it might incriminate me.
I love it.
All right, next.
Okay. Popeye's journey from his inception in a comic strip, and I'll just dip out for a minute. For people who aren't hardcore comics fans, a comic strip was always in newspapers then and now, back in the day, usually in black and white, sometimes in color on weekends, a comic book started as collections of comic strips published as cheap periodicals out each month where they could make some more money off things, but then comic books went into, Superman, Batman, original characters and anthologies became their own thing, separate than magazines. So from his inception in a comic strip to presence in newspaper strips, cartoons, comic books, and a vast array of merchandise is a testament to his enduring popularity. With his iconic appearance, memorable catchphrases, and entertaining adventures, Popeye has captured the hearts of fans of all ages and continues to be recognized as one of the most beloved and enduring characters in the world of cartoons and comics, including my heart. I really love this character.
And I'll point out something while we're looking at this slide. If you'll notice over there, there's Olive standing there with a can of spinach in her hand while Popeye is just putting the old pal there on Brutus. That is Brutus that he just hit. And if you look at Brutus, you can tell the difference between Bluto and
the squiggle beard.
There's a big difference. Bluto doesn't have big eyes like that. He has squinty eyes. Mm-hmm. And Bluto is much more brutish looking than Brutus is, to be honest with you. Bluto is bigger and he's more muscular, whereas Brutus is more fat and out of shape. But moving on
I like there was a strip where they show in the Sagendorf era shows Bluto and Brutus and a whole bunch of other generic big guys that look like them, all like kind of like the fake versions.
Well, they all had names, and Sagendorf did that because at the time he thought he could not use Bluto. Yeah. So he gave them various names, such as the Man Who Hates Popeye and stuff like that. Eventually, he settled on the name Sonny Boy and made him the Sea Hag's son. They did that for a little while, and then they finally settled on Brutus and just left it at that for years.
And that's in some of the merchandise too. You'll see that Bluto or Brutus will have like generic names on them that avoid any of that.
And the other thing that you'll notice is that it tends to work out so that if you find any kind of book merchandise or even the Popeyes fried chicken franchise used licensed Popeye himself for a little while, they would use Brutus. Mm-hmm. If you see a comic book, it'll generally have Brutus in it. If you see a comic strip, it'll generally have Brutus in it. However, a cartoon show or a movie will have Bluto in it, even to this very day. Don't ask me why. They can use either one if they want to, I guess. And of course, let's give our special thanks to Grindhead Jim and Jim Largo and Pope and Rollo and Will McLaughlin and Bjorn Jorgensen and Ocean Breeze Salty. Of course, Elsie Chrysler Seeger for creating this character. Sir Clifton, the Gojatron, the Melvor, Chris Tremblett, Radical Toys, Mike XX78. That's our friend Manic Plastic Toys there. That's what he subscribed to the Patreon as. Mr. Benny Poe, that would be Sir Clifton's dad. Motu Joneser himself down there, and of course me, Weird Fantastic Bill. And that concludes the slideshow presentation. So I'm going to take that on off of here. And let's just start our roundtable discussion. And as we do that, I'm going to also bring up another slideshow that I have available for us.
Yeah, Bill's got the extras. He's got the DVD extras prepared.
Absolutely.
The special features on the second disc.
Yeah.
Now let me exit this full screen.
Bill's the Popeye guy. I mean the Popeye casual who's learning stuff, and more time I could include more stuff. But I knew I'm like, what I don't know, Bill's already going to know. So let's get him talking about.
Yeah, and while this is on the screen, let me see if I can present something else as well.
I love this thumbnail you created. It's so nice.
There's not a lot to this. It's mainly just some pictures from the book. But let me add this into the stream real quick. We had a poll going on recently, and I asked everyone what color that Popeye's hair is. Now I'm going to go ahead and refresh this, and let's see if these numbers have changed any since the last time I looked at this. And going on down here, it looks like 7% think that he's blonde. 14% think his hair is black. Another 14% think his hair is red, so we're tied there. And 64, an overwhelming majority of the people who participated in this poll think that he is bald. And I've talked to a couple of people who think he's bald so far. So we'll get to that in just a minute, folks. The first thing we need to talk about here, and I'll share this tab, is a lot of what we've talked about here comes from the Wikipedia page, which I suggest that everyone take a look at. It goes into so much detail about Popeye that we could read for days and days and days on this, and I shall not. I just want to point this out. The second page that we want to talk about, we're going to talk about first Billy Costello. This man was the first actor to portray Popeye in the cartoons for Fleischer. He had a very gravelly voice, and he didn't mumble quite as much in those cartoons. He pretty much talked kind of like he did in the comic strip, but it was a very raspy voice that had a gravelly sound to it. But he was replaced by Jack Mercer, and it's kind of interesting how this came about. William Costello, the original voice of Popeye, became difficult to work with. His ego got too big for him, and he wanted too much money, and he acted a fool and wouldn't come on set and held things up, and was finally fired. And Mercer himself had begun imitating Costello's interpretation of Popeye and practiced it until his voice cracked just right, and he had it down. Lou Fleischer was searching for a replacement for Costello and heard Mercer singing the Popeye song, and gave him the job of doing the voice. And that's how Jack Mercer became the voice of Popeye. And Jack Mercer stayed the voice of Popeye pretty consistently all the way up until the 80s.
And it became like the definitive voice, except for when he had to be a wager in the, I think some of the wartime, the female voice actors that took over Popeye, and a lot of them rotated and did all the characters at various points.
Yeah, the voice of Olive Oil did Popeye for a short period of time. And
I like in the documentaries that talked about Jack Mercer really added more of the mumbling stuff. I'm like, oh, so I think he's a good
the muttering under his breath. That's right.
Yeah, they added, and that really made him more comical and sort of very.
And I think Jones was telling me that he kind of liked that version of Popeye.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not familiar at all with the comic strip or any of that. I was a big fan of the cartoons, and yes, mumbling Popeye was my guy, man. I just
Robin Williams tried to imitate that as well.
Yeah, he had to go.
His version of Popeye, he muttered and mumbled all under his breath. A lot of times you couldn't even hardly understand what he was saying as a result, but. Anyway, the last actor that I'm aware of now, I did look at a page that showed them all, and then there's so many of them, but
it's over 30.
Yeah, there's some here and there. But I'm talking about major actors. The last major person to play Popeye was Billy West.
Yep, and that made it special.
And Billy West almost lost his voice doing Popeye because of the way the gravelly sound of the voice that he was doing. So. I'm sure that Grindhead Jim and also possibly even Joneser can tell us that if you try to do stuff like that, such as heavy metal singing and stuff like that, and you don't know what you're doing, you can harm your throat.
Yeah, for sure. I've listened to all the Futurama commentaries where Billy West talked about stuff like that and doing like electronic, like kind of voices in it.
Yeah, I'll even add. I play in a rock band, and even just like singing, if you don't rest your voice or treat it right, you try to hit a high note or something, you can do harm. You know, you have to be very careful, especially if you're taking something out of your comfort zone.
It's like an athlete; you got to train properly,
rest
and recover.
Correct.
Yeah.
You got to stretch before you do anything silly.
And the next page that we're going to go to and work through is the Sailorpedia, which is the Wikipedia for Popeye. And that is at popeye.fandom.com/wiki/Popeye the Sailorpedia. And this, of course, is the main page of that. And I'll pop this into the chat real quick so that people can hit that link if they want to. But I'm not gonna go but page by page on this. First, we want to talk about Frank Rocky Feigl. This is the man who inspired E.C. Seeger to create Popeye, and we'll talk about him in just a minute. The next one we want to talk about is Bluto here, and there's a lot to Bluto, and I suggest that you look at this page because I'm not going to go into all of this. I'm going to touch on this real quick. What is Popeye's enemy's name? Well, is it Brutus or is it Bluto, or is it Sonny Boy, or what is it? Well, we talked about that. They thought they didn't have the rights to Bluto, and so they created Brutus in the comics. And if we go down here a little ways on this page here, we have this picture here of how to animate Bluto. The squinty eyes are the main thing to notice. That Bluto has squinty eyes, whereas Brutus, on the other hand, does not. So here we have Bluto as he appeared in the original strip right here. And then we have Brutus here. And we have Bluto here. See? Now, this guy says if you take Brutus and add Bluto, then you can have Brutus T. Bluto over here, which is a combination of them. But I personally think they're two separate characters. See the squinty eyes, and you have the big wide eyes. So that's kind of the deal there. And of course, I don't know if people know this or not, but the Popeye the characters in the Popeye strip were inspired by people that E.C. Seeger knew in his life. This man here is J. William Schubert, who was Seeger's boss during his teenage years at a local theater. And this man was a lot more generous than Wimpy actually was, but he did have an appetite for hamburgers. And of course, here is the inspiration for olive oil, Miss Dora Pascal. She was another real life person from E.C. Seeger's hometown of Chester, Illinois. And her gravestone bears an engraving of Olive's face. I actually looked at this a minute ago, and if we go down here, I might be able to show it to you. Here it is right here. And as you can see, there is her face right there on that tombstone. So that's kind of neat, I thought. And finally, I wanted to talk about Hanna-Barbera's revival of the cartoon, which was the all-new Popeye show. So these were the things that I looked at on the Sailorpedia, and as I was doing that, I said, "Look, I need to do my own little slideshow real quick to touch on some of the comic strip aspects, and later on what became the all-new Popeye Hour by Hanna-Barbera." So there was a wide cast of characters that were in the strip. I'm going to full screen this so I can see what I'm looking at here. We have Professor O.G. What a Snozzle, because he had a big old snozzle there on his nose. And there's the old sea hag back there. King Blozo was a major character that Bud Sagendorf had brought back into the strip. And
That's
of course,
the spinach
there's...
guy?
Huh?
That's the spinach guy, like the king of the spinach island or something?
Yeah, he's King Blow the Spinachovia, I believe was the name of the kingdom.
That's
now,
it.
the castor oil here, which is Olive's little brother. And there's Brutus back there, who he was Popeye's pretty much enemy in the strip from the 60s through the 70s and 80s. And even up until today, I think Brutus is still the one that they use in the strip. Coal Oil is Olive's dad. And there's Eugene the Jeep. He is a African Huey hound who who lives in the fifth dimension, but can travel between dimensions and has almost magical powers.
Also,
Nana,
the home of Batmite and Mitzelflip.
right. We have here Nana Oil. That's Olive's mom. And Doofus back there in the back is actually Popeye's nephew. Now, of course, we all know the four nephews from the cartoon series. They never appeared in the comic strip. But
they're quite strange because they look like him with a small body.
Well, I even saw one cartoon where they had anchor tattoos on their arm just like he did. And little kids.
Do you think, like, when I was looking at those strips, did they get them from Huey, Dewey, and Louie, or do Huey, Dewey, and Louie come from the Popeye ones? Which version came first?
My suspicion was that it was a bite off of Donald Duck, because that's what I thought.
Mickey had them too. Did you know that?
I just assumed it was when I saw them.
In the comic, I know in the comic strips, Mickey had nephews too. So that was a thing. To bring in the kids, put the nephews in, and make the nephews look just like the main character.
Yeah, like in Shazam and that sort of thing. It was all variations of it.
Now, as we're going across here, up at the top we have Bernard the buzzard. That is the sea hag's bird. And then we have Salty the parrot. And we also have Bernice the whipple hen over there. And she was still around. So even used up in the Bud Sagendorf area that Bernice the whipple hen was part of the strip. And there's a ghost there from Ghost Island.
Yeah.
And back there in the back is Alice the Goon, which is an interesting character. Alice the Goon was a goon from Goon Island, which is populated by other goons that looked like her, they look like Bigfoots with hair all over them and ugly, expressionless faces. Alice started out as the Sea Hag's minion, but she was so scary for the kids that E.C. Seeger softened her up and turned her into, put a dress on her and turned her into Sweet Pea's nurse, babysitter and nurse.
I read another strip where they had relatives, Alice the Goon, that were living on the moon for no particular reason.
Yeah, and then of course we have John Sapo there from the 515, which was the topper for the Popeye strip. All strips had a top; they were full page, so the strip took up the whole page, but the very top portion of it was a separate comic from the bottom. For instance, Jungle Jim was the topper for Flash Gordon, while the 515 was the topper for Popeye and featured John Sapo and his adventures. And of course, I think Bud Sagendorf decided that Sapo lived in the same universe and in the same town with Popeye. So that's why he's there. And there's, of course, Granny. That's Popeye's grandmother, which would be Poop Deck Pappy's mom. And her claim to fame is that she has more than 15 recipes for burning water. She can't cook worth a damn.
I love those strips where Popeye dresses up as Pappy, or Pappy shaves his beard, pretends to be Popeye, or Popeye dresses in drag as the Granny.
Right. And then we have Jay Wellington Wimpy, of course, our hamburger man. There is a pot of spinach growing there. We have Sweet Pea, of course, who is Popeye's ward. He actually was mailed to Popeye in the mail, and Popeye opened the package up, and Sweet Pea popped out. And Sweet Pea does have feet. They have been shown in the comics. Not only that, but Sweet Pea eventually became able to talk, and he talks just like Popeye does.
He talks a whole lot. Some of the later ones.
And he is not Olive Oil's child. He is Popeye's ward. His mother did show back up and try to take him back, but that was such a traumatic strip that they just dropped it. They dropped it. It didn't go anywhere. It was terrible, and it should never have done that in the first place. But if you'll notice in the cartoons, a lot of times, Sweet Pea's always shown living with Olive Oil. But that wasn't the case in the comic strip. He lived with Popeye, and he pretty much ate spinach and was pretty strong. And
yeah. I love when he just leaps off the ground and just punches guys, and sometimes he gets kidnapped, and he always ends up beating up the kidnappers.
Yeah, he's super strong, just like Popeye is, because he eats his spinach. Yeah, and of course there's old Poop Deck Pappy, that's Popeye's dad, Now, Popeye's dad is not a good guy, people. He is actually kind of a lecherous, old, villainous man.
That's something that came up in some Popeye documentaries online. There's a really good one on YouTube with a lot of the old time media people and Billy West and that. But they said in the original strips how Popeye, not unlike Superman, was really a man of the people with the underclass and all that. And as it became more popular with animation, they kind of changed the character. The William Randolph Hearst stepped in and said, "Whoa, this guy is too violent. Can we have kids are looking at this?" Yeah. And they kind of made Popeye into two characters, him and the father. The father has all his bad qualities into one character. Right.
And of course,
uncensored Popeye.
Joneser was remembering Pappy the other day when we were talking, I hate relatives.
Pappy is actually one of my favorite characters. I was, like I said, a big fan of the cartoon, and my favorite episode is an old black and white episode of the cartoon where Pappy wants to go out and Popeye is trying to keep him home, so he has to go to bed. And of course, Pappy, sucker punches him and runs out the door and goes bar hopping, and he's drinking and dancing with girls and pretty girls and fat girls and whoever he can get. And Popeye's trying to get him out of trouble.
Pappy likes all the ladies.
Yeah, Popeye's trying to get him out of trouble.
Drink too.
And Pappy's just leaving Popeye in the trouble. He's not helping him really in any way. So it's just an entertaining episode to me, and I've watched it many, 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 many times.
And I also included this slide because the strip was called Thimble Theater. And what a lot of people don't understand, that strip, Thimble Theater, was around for 10 years before Popeye was ever introduced to it. And the main characters of the strip were Olive, originally called Harold Ham Gravy, but changed to just Ham Gravy, and Olive's little brother Castor Oil. And of course, the coal oil and nana oil, the parents. And it was a gag-a-day strip that eventually evolved into an adventure strip. And the adventure was that they were going to go to Dice Island with the Whiffle Hen, cheat, and win all the money, but they needed a sailor to get there, so they had Popeye. And Popeye was only supposed to appear that one time. And guess what? He was so well beloved that a week later they brought him back, and he took over the strip, kind of like Fonzie took over Happy Days, and that was the rest is just history.
Ralph Steve Urkel took over Family Matters.
Pretty much.
And it's not an uncommon thing. Superman was just another story in Action Comics. He wasn't necessarily a recurring character. It's just a story, but he became popular.
Well, there's a number of issues of Action Comics. There's a number of issues of Action Comics after Action Comics 1 Superman doesn't even appear on the cover of.
Yeah, that's funny because they didn't took them about a year before they caught up, realizing how well the Superman story was selling, that people wanted to see more of it before they said get more about it.
Well, even some of those original Batmans and DC Detective Comics, they had other characters like Slam Bradley and
they're all anthologies, and they all grew out of just being these anthology stories. And sometimes a character caught on, and sometimes he just was there once and was gone, and that was it.
Right.
And what I'm going to do now, these last couple of slides, I want people to have a chance to look at these really well. So I'm going to pause on them and make them full screen so that when you go back and look at this video again, you can actually look and read some of this stuff. I'm not going to read all of this. This is Popeye's hometown right here. And let me see if I can do what I want to do with that.
This is from Bill's awesome book that's out of print that I'd love to buy, but you can't.
Yeah, it's called Popeye the First 50 Years by Bud Sagendorf.
Yeah. It's like the resource, but it's been out of print for a while.
Yeah. This is Popeye's hometown, pretty much a representation of it. You can see Popeye's house. You can see the main street, the dock, where Popeye's boat is. You can see Vulture Island, where the sea hag lives, the lighthouse that's there, Olive's house. We'll call this Sweet Haven. I don't know if it was actually ever called that in the comics, but it was in that movie, so Sweet Haven it is. The next slide shows the 8th sea, one of the low seas. And this is where Jeep Island is located, and Goon Island, and The Sea Hag has a hideout there, and of course, there's Dice Island where they went to in Upper Spinachovia. So that's kind of the seas that Popeye lives in and operates in, and he is a sailor. So he has his own ship called the Olive, and he sails around in the 8th Sea. And of course, we've already seen this, but this is the first strip that Popeye showed up in. You ask a stupid question, you get one back. And talking about Rocky Feigl here for a minute. If you look at this picture in the middle, this is the only known picture of Rocky Feigl that has ever existed that we know of. And beside that picture of him, you will see a section out of Bud Sagendorf's book that talks about the man and some of his escapades when he was alive, and that he was the inspiration for Popeye. Now, we get to the point where we get to find out what Popeye's hair color was that everybody, majority of people got wrong. So here's Popeye's vital statistics. He was born in a typhoon off of Santa Monica, California. His age is 34 years old. He is 5'6" tall. He weighs 158 pounds. He has red hair. He has an 8-inch neck, 7-inch biceps, 20-inch forearms. His chest normal is 30 inches. His chest expanded is 60. He has 7-inch thighs and 20-inch calves, and he has a spinach capacity of 36 tons.
Nice.
So the majority of the people thought he was bald, I think because that's the way he looks in most of the cartoon shows, especially the Hanna-Barbera cartoon, which is firmly emblazoned in Gen X's mind, because that was the Saturday morning cartoon show that we grew up with. And castor oil looks like Wimpy as a kid. Well, kind of. I'll give you that. Castor was actually a grown man. He was really, really short, though. Hey, I like Pappy. He's spicy. Yeah, he was. So that's Rocky Feigl. Now, that brings us to this point here. This picture here is like cancer on the internet. Everywhere you look, this picture here pops up, and they say this is Rocky Feigl. No, this is not Rocky Feigl. This has never been Rocky Feigl. Don't find this picture and think you're looking at a picture of Rocky Feigl. All over the internet, you'll see this. There's only one photograph of Rocky in existence, and this is not it. This was a staged photograph from back in the, I want to say the 40s or the 50s, and it had nothing to do with Rocky himself, who was long dead by that point. And I'll go to you, Johnny. Johnny, have you seen this picture?
I've seen that picture many times, mainly in the last couple of weeks, looking up research about the character. And it came up in various articles that to me were just trash articles. There's no effort into an actual research.
I've seen this picture in news articles from news sources that you would think would research this shit better.
That's the sad state of affairs, Bill, today, when like internet fucking journalism has just fucked people. Like people can't look up more than 3 references without going, tell fact from fiction. You got to look at multiple resources for anything.
And one Google search and you call it research.
Exactly. You nailed that one there, John. Now this last. Go ahead. Go.
No, it's like, I've got scans of old things like the Comics Journal because I'd like to have the physical things, but I'll read digital versions of scans and magazines from 20 years ago because it's an actual source rather than some idiot who's read it for 5 minutes and hasn't got a clue.
And this little letter here was penned supposedly by Popeye himself, although the lettering looks very suspiciously like Bud Sagendorf's lettering. But in this letter, Popeye tells you all about himself, at least as much as he chooses to tell you. You guys can pause the video here when you restream it later, and you can read all this for yourself, make screenshots, whatever you need to do. But I find this to be a very interesting little read. It took me a minute to try to piece this together out of the book over there. But there you have it. That's Popeye in his own words right there. And I think that brings us to the end of this slideshow. And
I just want to say that thank you, Bill, because I was under the gun time wise. I'd gone from home 13 hours a day, doing a slideshow on a character I only know superficially, bits and pieces about, and I went, the things that I don't know, that's all the stuff you've just talked about is the stuff I was relying you to know about that I would need more time, another couple of weeks to look into on a deeper level. And I usually do. I've researched some stuff from 6 months to 2 fucking years, and I'll get so many notes about. It's like, how much do you actually want to share? I want to get the core stuff and then supplement with what you already know about the character.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I've missed my commercial breaks, so I'm going to take one of them now.
Yeah,
But right before we do the commercial breaks, I want to shout out Eldor here, Master Universal Toy Hunter, who has come to join us. He's going through a bereavement right now. I don't know how that's going along. We have you in our thoughts and prayers, sir. I just want to let you know that. And so I'm going to run over here. I'm going to do an actual commercial break. But before I do that, I want to do something very special for Manic Plastic. He has got a new website going, and I just wanted to help him out a little bit by showing something to you guys. So I can get that, find it here. Here we go. Real quick little 30-second plug for Manic Plastic, and then we'll go to a commercial break.
We have a great product in the shop that we're excited to share with you. Check it out on our site.
He swears to me that that's not Boobarella, but I swear that sounds like her to me. Anyway, we'll be back after these messages.
I drink Dr. Pepper, don't you see? 'Cause it's the perfect taste for me. That original taste, you know, is making peppers everywhere I go. There's boating peppers, toting peppers, cooking peppers, good-looking peppers. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Us peppers are an interesting breed. An original taste is what we need. Ask any pepper and he'll say, only Dr. Pepper tastes that way. There's carrying peppers, marrying peppers, diet peppers, quiet peppers. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? There's saluting peppers, tooting peppers.
Popeye the Pepper Man.
Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. Aye, aye. Be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. Yes, sir. Be a pepper.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Me chicken's the best in the land.
Oh, Popeye, New Orleans is so romantic.
Strictly business, Olive. They has named a chain of spicy chicken restaurants after your favorite hero.
Spicy chicken named Brutus?
Popeyes.
Brutus.
Says yo. Well, that takes care of him. And Popeyes takes care of the chicken.
Oh, my hero. Oh, Popeye, I love your parrot.
Aha! If you were mine, Olive would love me.
Olive, I got to get me parrot back.
Popeye, your spinach.
And the spinach. I want me Quaker apples and cinnamon oatmeal.
Here, Popeye.
Instant Quaker oatmeal is part of me balanced breakfast. Okay, Pluto. Nobody better steal me parrot or me instant Quaker oatmeal.
Popeye wants a Quaker.
Before Tuesday finally arrived. Before he gladly paid Bluto. Before he gladly paid Olive Oil. And Popeye. Jay Wellington Wimpy downloaded Bank of America's mobile banking app so he could finally make good on his word.
Blow me down.
That's the tastiness of mobile connections. That's Bank of America.
Hey kids, try some of this dope. Oh, Mr.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
that was Mr. No. He showed up a couple of times in those, and that was one of the more humorous ones of those. I've got a couple more of these that I want to show, but I want to go back to my what I've written down here that I've kind of gone off of a little bit. All right, so we missed our first commercial break, which should have been at the beginning of the show. So I've got another one to do, and so I'm going to pop it in here during our Hanna-Barbera revival. But the first thing I wanted to show you guys was the opening to that, which is iconic to me. When I was a kid, this was my Popeye. Although we did see the Popeye Fleischer stuff on the syndicated afternoon TBS cartoon shows. But guess what? In the old Bill household, there wasn't no cable TV. There was an antenna outside that you had to turn. And so I didn't get TBS and I didn't get afternoon cartoons during the week. I got cartoons one day a week, and that was on Saturday. And I got to see Popeye on those. And the Popeye I saw was this guy right.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Really?
Yeah.
One of the things that Hanna-Barbera did in that is they went back to the E.C. Seeger comics, and they did something that the Fleischers were doing before Famous took it over, and brought those characters back into the cartoon show. And one of the things that I really loved about that was they would do the gags and sometimes even redo an old Fleischer cartoon like Popeye the Carpenter or Popeye the Plumber. But they also had an adventure story that they did, and it was usually in two parts. So they would play the first part, and then they would play Dinky the Dog, which is a horrible cartoon that I don't even think about anymore. And then they would play the second part of Popeye's Treasure Hunt. Check this out. And those were wonderful little adventures where Popeye and Olive owned a treasure hunting service, and Bluto owned a salvage treasure hunting service next door to him. And he was always trying to get their clients away from him or get the treasure for himself that Popeye was looking for. So, neat.
Yeah, I don't remember these at all. I seen the old black and whites where they had the little sailor doors smacked together, or the AAP or AAP ones.
These were done in the 1970s and early 80s. They were Saturday morning cartoons on CBS television. It aired from 1978 until 1982. There were 65 episodes of this. And they changed it to the Popeye Olive Comedy Hour. And in that one, it kind of jumped the shark at that point. They Olive and Alice the Goon went and joined the army, a la Laverne and Shirley joined the army, a la Private Benjamin. And it really got bad. And of course, there was one that we're not going to even talk about that was a revival many years later that was supposed to have been this again, but when Popeye and Son, no, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's the same ones I've seen as a kid, just on repeats, like those two shows.
Now, before we end tonight, I'm actually going to show an episode of the all-new Popeye Hour. It's not an hour long; it's just a segment, a small segment. Thank you. But it's kind of cool. But before I do that, I want to take the second commercial break and do that, because the commercial breaks to me are kind of important because they have the commercials that Popeye was in. So we'll be right back after this. This will give us another chance to grab some water or go to the bathroom. See y'all in after the break.
I was just saying to myself, Wimpy, I said, did you say hamburgers? Mustard? Ketchup? Oh, happy day! Oh, happy hamburger day!
I'm Popeye the Quaker Man. I eats all the oats I can.
Popeye!
the spinach. I wants me instant Quaker oatmeal. It's the hot part of me balanced breakfast. You forgetting something? Ahoy! Now there's a Popeye comic book and specially marked boxes of instant Quaker oatmeal. Popeye wants a Quaker.
My turn.
My turn.
This new Popeye video game has the boys fighting worse than ever. Oh, Popeye.
It's my game.
It's got 3 screens just like the arcade. Watch out!
Yikes! Uh-oh.
Fight like a man.
Where's me spinach? Yeah!
You choke, you wimp.
I ain't wimpy. I'm much better looking.
The new Popeye video game, available for most popular home video and computer systems.
Come on, Olive. Let's get some of me spicy, delicious chicken.
Oh, Popeye, how wonderful. Hi, Popeye.
Gives us a 10-piece bucket of chicken with that good old New Orleans flavor.
And lots of rice dressing. Popeye, could I...
Okay, Olive. Sing it, Goyles.
Chicken from Popeye. Love that chicken from Popeye.
You got to stop smoking. I don't smoke it. I just keep it for tooting.
I found it odd that the Popeye's chicken thing, which being all of Australia, New Zealand, like I only heard about here and there, but it was supposedly named after Popeye Doyle from the French Connection, but then later on had the Popeye comic strip as a commercial.
When they first opened the first Popeye franchise in Clarksdale, Mississippi, it was that they were licensing the Popeye character from King Feature Syndicate and using it in the merchandising of that particular establishment. But yes, you're right. The Popeye's chicken establishment was not named after Popeye the Sailor. It was like Johnny said, Popeye Doyle from French Connection. How that
he picks his feet in Poughkeepsie. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts on this? These little vignettes that I've been showing here in the commercial breaks there, Jones? Or
yeah, just I only remembered the one, the oatmeal commercial I remember seeing as a kid. The other ones I don't remember. I don't remember the new coat of paint on the Popeye cartoon in the 70s or the early 80s. I guess I must have had, cable television or options or the right reruns, or I got the black and whites. I got the double AP ones. I got the classic Popeye.
How old were you in 1982 there, Jones? Or
might have been 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And that's why.
That might just be.
Yeah.
That's why it lasted from 1978 to 1982, and then it was gone. And it was gone. It was nowhere to be found. You couldn't go buy it on videotape. You couldn't go buy a DVD of it. Even to this very day, there are DVDs of it, but they're not complete.
Right.
There is a YouTube channel that's showing these, and I've got a link in the description. So if you want to watch these videos, there is a YouTube channel, and it is a legit YouTube channel. They're legitimately showing these videos on that. So
sure.
That's a good thing. I mean,
I guess I'd like to add, like, I remember my best memories of Popeye is not as much as a kid, but more as a teenager watching the Cartoon Network when they had them on late at night. And me and my friends, we would sit up and drink beers or other things, and we'd watch these cartoons, and one of the things that we would say was how it's going to be a good cartoon, a good Popeye cartoon, if it's black and white and it's got those sailor doors shutting.
Right
Like those are the good ones. And so that was my memories of Popeye for me.
Michael Purvis has sent me some pictures by Instagram. Unfortunately, the computer app will not allow me to show these, but I can show. Maybe you can see the phone here. It's a little Popeye doll. Is that something that's in your collection there, Michael?
Oh,
I'm
pretty
kind of
cool.
curious. It's a neat looking little doll there. It doesn't look like it's got any articulation to it or anything, but maybe it's a bank or something. I don't know. Now, tell us a little more about that there in the chat there, Michael. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So that's the Popeye pics that he sent me. Going back over here, let's get us back all on the screen again. And OBS remembers the oatmeal. We didn't have Popeye around when I was a kid. Had it since I moved to Pennsylvania.
I don't think I've ever had Popeye's chicken.
He's got 4 nephews. Johnny.
Yeah, but in some of the later comics, it just turns into 3, and they don't explain why the 4th one's not there.
Did they have names?
Yes, Poopeye, Pip-Eye, Peep-Eye, and Popeye.
Wow.
And I actually saw an old Fleischer. No, it was a famous cartoon, I think, or it was a Fleischer cartoon with it had the nephews in it, and they had anchor tattoos on their arm just like Popeye did. They cut that out later because little kids.
It's like tattoo on kids.
I mean, come on. It's a rubber figurine, he says. Rubber. Probably made out of real rubber from a rubber tree, I bet you. That looked old. There are some Popeye cartoons in color that had Sailors. Yes, there were.
I believe those were the black and white ones that they added color to later.
Yeah, colorized those. Yeah. They didn't colorize the cartoons until the Fleischers were fired and Paramount got it and started the famous studios. And yeah, I showed those pictures the best I could. I for some reason the PC app for Instagram does not work as well as the phone app. As a matter of fact, Instagram never was supposed to work on the PC. It was always supposed to be a phone.
It wasn't. I didn't use it for years because it was only a mobile thing, and I didn't use phone things. So people on there going, "Follow me on here," and I'm like, I don't fucking use it.
Yeah, I never used it either. All right, so I'm going to show one more commercial break, and then we're going to show a Popeye cartoon, a full Popeye cartoon, and you're going to like this one, guys. You're really going to like it. So as soon as the commercial breaks over, the cartoon will start.
Introducing Popeye's all-new comic strip glasses, featuring Popeye, olive oil, sweet tea, and that old Brutus, too. They're yours to keep when you buy a 69-cent soft drink. You can collect a different glass each week. Stop by Popeye's for all-new comic strip glasses. Yours to keep when you buy a 69-cent soft drink.
Hubba Bubba Bubblegum comes through again with a fresh new flavor. Strawberry flavor Hubba Bubba. It's soft, juicy, delicious, and lets you blow amazing no-stick bubbles that won't stick to your face.
Hubba Bubba, come through again with strawberry.
Big bubbles, no trouble.
Hubba Bubba Bubblegum.
Say, has you heard the news?
Yeah. I want to tell him.
Gentlemen, the news is riveting, absolutely riveting.
What the boys are trying to say is that Parker Brothers Popeye, Cubert, and Frogger are not only available for the Atari 2600, but for the Commodore 64 home computer, Atari 5200, and ColecoVision. About as close to real arcade graphics in action as you can get.
One thing I hate such a pushkin outskirt. Popeye, Cubert, and Frogger. Also for all Commodore, Atari systems, and TI. Now's your nose.
It's a bird. It's a plane.
It's underoos.
Well, wobble my webs. It's a real change of underwear.
Wearing underoos is fun. And you can choose from more than one. There's Hulk, Fred Flintstone, and the Flash. Superman. Spider-Man. The Things that smash. Underoos are fun to wear. Yeah, something super new in underwear. You'll find the underoos display where you buy underwear. It's underwear that's fun to wear.
What's that he's got hiding up his sleeve? It's a neat wrist racer that's built for speed.
Wrist racers, you start them with a twist. You can rev them, you can race them, right from your wrist.
Wrist racers. They're race sets you wear on your wrist.
Wrist racers, you start them with a twist. You can rev them, you can race them, right from your wrist. Wrist racers.
Wrist racers come complete with racer, wristband, ramp, launch pad.
Gotta love old Wimpy.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna play this this little cartoon here. It's called Close Encounters of the Third.
Sons of bitches.
Wow.
I think we just got nailed.
I see that.
You just got decapitated as a kid.
Shit. I kind of figured. All right, so YouTube's is an asshole. Yeah. Well, I don't know if we're back or when we're back. You tell me when we get back, folks.
I don't see it yet. I'm watching it.
Okay. That means that's wild. Temporary block because we detected copyright audio and video.
Or audio, that's what it'll be, I bet, because I already showed so much visuals of Popeye. It must be the audio stuff.
Well, I think it's, the audio is what flags the computer.
Oh, the video does too. The video does too. I'm going to have to cut all of that out. That means the license going to go away too, but I'm going to have to cut all of that out. It's going to go away.
The pains of the spinach.
Yeah, they got me, guys. So, I don't know when we'll actually come back online. You guys that are watching, continue to watch, because if you let go of it, you're not going to get it back.
Wow.
Yep. This has happened before. It happened when I showed a movie trailer for Shogun Assassin.
Yeah, that's why I said you got decapitated again, because that was the first one.
Yeah.
Got assassinated.
Let's see.
Gremlins. Yeah, I started. Well, while that was playing, I started download. I went to the YouTube channel that had some of the Hanna-Barbera ones and started downloading the playlist of that. You're back again. I've got it in second window.
Yep, it's back up. It's back up. No longer blocked due to copyright issues. Okay, so that section is going to have to be cut. We're back, folks. For those of you who were here during it, congratulations. You got to see something that no one else will get to see. The cartoon's available on YouTube. You can watch the rest of it. It was a Star Wars ripoff. I couldn't help but to show it. It was funny as hell. So what happened? Asked OBS. Well, the cartoon is copyrighted by Hanna-Barbera and by I think Paramount's got their hands in it, and so does King Features. Now, it's King Features. King Features is very protective of Popeye. And I'm surprised they didn't get me before this for showing the opening and closing, opening of the Popeye show and the Popeye Treasure Hunt.
King Features will steal your sweepy boy kid in his sleep, so watch out for that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something else. Now, I've already got a copyright strike for doing this right here.
Wow.
Yeah, that's an ID strike, though. It's not a real true copyright strike.
You know what's funny about that, though? They said that the actual theme used in those first cartoons was at least 200 years old before they used it. So who's copyrighted who?
Thanos, if you'll look in the description for this live stream, there is a link to the channel that shows those cartoons that legitimately, and it is on one of them. You'll have to find it though. I can't remember which one.
I think I just googled Hanna-Barbera Popeye and it came. There's a playlist.
Now,
and stuff.
Okay, here's my question. If there's already a YouTube channel that's showing it, why can't you show it? Is it because
sometimes they've got a license?
They're legit.
They got a special permission.
Either they got special permission or it's actually owned by King Features.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that channel has, and there's another channel called Eighth Man DVD, which has the Fleischer ones, and they've previously published actual DVDs with permission of the cartoons, so they can have them on the channel.
And of course, they may have purchased a license to do it. Well, they've got a lot more money than I do because I'm not getting enough Patreon super chats or anything else to be able to afford what it would cost to license that shit.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's.
And as far as I'm concerned, and of course I'm wrong on this because that's not the way copyright law works. That's not even the way fair use works. But as far as I'm concerned, I am promoting this material for them for free. They should be happy.
Yeah, that's not how that works. They're never
Oh,
going to see it.
it's not how it works at all, folks. We know that. We were kind of trying to sail under the radar, but we got by the YouTube bot. So Google bot got us. Boom. But to help me get over this kind of stuff, OBS helped me a little bit tonight by giving me a little bit of money, and I appreciate that. Any little tips that I get, any super chats that I get, that is how I will be able to make money when it comes to stuff like this. Otherwise, stuff like this just can't be monetized. Yeah, and Thanos agrees with me. That's how he sees it as well. And that's how any rational person would see it. I'm giving you free advertisement. I'm saying this is a sample of what you can see on this channel. Go check it out. And that, but this is not a logical world, OBS.
It's been not on YouTube. They've been heavy-handed with that stuff for a long time.
Oh, pretty much. I mean, I've toyed with Rumble. Rumble won't let me live stream over there though. So until I could live stream on Rumble, I can't even move to Rumble. And if I did move to Rumble, I wouldn't make any money because you can't monetize like you can on YouTube. YouTube's got a monopoly.
Nobody knows it exists.
Yeah, YouTube's got a monopoly on this, and that's how it works. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to show the coup de grace tonight, which was the Close Encounters of the Third Spinach, which was a Star Wars ripoff with Popeye and Olive, and Bluto as Darth Vader. I mean, it was hilarious to me.
Somewhere you could post that will be on Patreon though, and they can't take that down.
That may just happen, but the thing about it is, I would have to actually host that video somewhere and then post a link to it.
Right.
Because even if
just post a link to it, then
I could post a link to the channel that shows it, but you'd have to watch the whole Popeye show to get that one segment out of it. See, I cut that segment out of an hour and a half long show. So
I wonder if you would have used one of them old black and white ones or anything like that.
Well, I could have got away with that, but and I thought about doing that. But the thing is, that wasn't what I wanted to show. I wanted to show the freaking Star Wars ripoff because I thought it was hilarious.
Sure.
Let's see. You play something and put the link for it, and that should be that. And they should thank you.
It's all robots. It's just automatic. They just gank you for anything.
Yes, that is the second time, Studio. And Thanos says you could stream it on Discord. The Discord app is something that I've got a Discord. Okay, there is a Discord for this channel. Patreons have a link to it, and it is tied to this channel so that channel members have special access to Discord. So if you go over to Discord and try to join, I would be happy to have you in that. It is pretty much a dead server right now because there's nobody in there. It takes people in the Discord server to make a Discord server work. So, I mean, it's there. There's nobody in there talking to each other. But if you guys would show up in there and join it and start doing things in there, there are things we could do. And with channel memberships, there is a special section that I created the other day just for channel members. So Studio is my one and only channel member right now. I mean, we probably could do things like that over there once I figure out how to do it.
I think it's because Discord grew up mainly around live streaming video games and that, so that tends
That's
to be
what it's
most
for,
of
and
the audience for that sort of thing.
It's a kid app that I think of it more like IRC, but it's really not. It's a lot more powerful than that. But it is one way to chat, though. And yeah, that kind of brings us to the end of the show. It's kind of a bummer, but if you guys got any more to say, now's the time to do it. Otherwise, we're going to feed some ducks.
I just want to say thanks to you guys for doing the show. That's about it. Yeah.
Oh, I don't mind it at all. I thought we had a great time. Like I said, I'm going to spend probably the next couple of hours before going to bed trying to edit out that little section of the damn video so that the thing will play for folks. It's a shame that it happened. We all know why. I'm not going to make a special video about it like I did last time. Yeah, there's Twitch too, and I have a Twitch channel, and I used to dual stream over there, but Twitch has got issues as well. There he is. Now, how can you not stream on Rumble? Well, in order to stream on Rumble, you have to establish the channel, which I have done, and then you have to make so many uploads to it before they'll allow you to stream. I tried, and it wouldn't. It said that I wasn't allowed yet to stream because I wasn't. What is the word I'm looking for? Verified or legitimate? That one of those great, wonderful things about Rumble. Rumble works a lot differently than YouTube. Now, even YouTube won't let you stream right off the bat. I mean, you've got to ask permission and wait a certain period of time and set your channel up right. And of course, I'm grandfathered in that. My channel has been around since before that rule happened, and I was able to stream. But
yeah, I've doing blog stuff more than 10 years, and they keep changing formats and rules and all sorts of bullshit retroactively.
What I hate about blogging, and I'm a blogger too. I've got the Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure started out as a blog, and it still exists over there on Blogspot. The Nightbot will tell you how to get to it if you pay attention to it. Mine looks like it always did, just an old school blog. It has a sidebar on it full of shit, and you scroll down and just like the olden days, but that's not what blogs are supposed to look like anymore. And
they're all like lots of photo collage, headache-inducing bullshit.
Oh
now.
God, yeah, it's terrible. And yeah, thank you for everybody that showed up in the chat and joined us for these shenanigans tonight. Thank you, Manic Plastic. I appreciate that, man. He's updated the Patreon to $10 for me. I appreciate that. That will help quite a bit.
Awesome.
And
I don't get the lights on.
Yeah, that will help quite a bit. And the Patreon, I'll get that money when I feel like getting it. Right now I'm letting it build up. What I want to get is a nice desktop computer for in here to run this on instead of a laptop, and that may help some of my issues.
I want to see at the end of the year just a big ball of money, Indiana Jones style, rolling and Bill running away from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big money ball.
Yeah. Money ball.
Well, we'll get there someday, folks. But like another person that I admire greatly says, we've only just begun. But right now, we're going to feed a few ducks, and we're going to think about what we're going to do for tomorrow. I really haven't thought about it too much, Joneser. What do you want to do for tomorrow? I think I want to talk about what we got coming from Big Bad Toy Store.
Sure. Yeah, I got a couple things hit my pile of loot, and one I got actually, which was amazing to me. I literally picked it to ship yesterday at lunch, and I got it today by lunch.
That's a good point.
That thing came to my house in less than 12 hours. It was uncanny.
Hit Joneser's channel there, folks, and see his review of the Talon Fighter and Point Grid.
I'll see a few Master stuff shipping BBTS this week or so.
Last thing I'd like to add here is I'd like to thank Johnny for his hard work on that slideshow. That was amazingly epic and awesome, and you threw that together in a very short period of time. I know you're a busy cat, and I could just see the love that was put into it, and I'd really like to do a detailed Batman show with you someday. I know we keep
I'd like
saying
to
that,
too.
but
I
that's
usually
on
do
my
longer,
to-do.
usually do longer format stuff and spend it all the time, but I was under the crunch to just sort of get it done and then still manage my work and other bullshit.
Oh no, I hear you. I'm a plant manager myself, dude. I'm buried right now, so I hear you, dude. So
that brings up a good point, Jones. I need to let everybody know that the 4th of July this weekend here and the next couple of days after Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, I have off. When I go back to work, I'm facing 12-hour days, 6 days a week from here on out until we get caught up, and I don't know when that'll be. I'm looking down a dark tunnel and I'm not seeing any light, and I'm not even seeing a train coming to hit me. I just see a long stretch of absolute hell in the middle of the summertime in the Mississippi Delta, where the temperatures have soared over 100 degrees every day in an unair conditioned factory that I work in, where I pour sweat and almost die every day. And now I can't even get a reprieve from it after 8 hours. I have to stay in there till from 6 to 6. So the show's going to cut back to 1 show a week on Sunday. Pass it around. I'm going to make sure I put it out there on Patreon. I'm going to put it out here on the community tab here on YouTube. May even make a video about it, letting everybody know that I've got to. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, the Sunday show is going to be it, folks, because that's the one day I'll have off to do it, and I may not be able to do the Sunday show depending on what's going on. So I'll let you guys know. It's going to affect my viewing hours. They've already gone below 4,000, so I've got to get it back up.
How do they go below when they've been up? How does it go down again?
Because it stretches back for 1 year. They go from today back 365 days. Any views that I had before that were counting toward hours go away as time moves on.
Man, I hate YouTube even more every day.
Radical says, did you lose subs once you passed 800? No, sir. I have been hovering around 700 and something for a long time. I finally got over the 750 mark just the other day. So last I looked, it was 754. Which I may have lost 1 or 2 viewers on that because I'm doing something kind of sneaky. Whereas a lot of my links on social medias have a auto subscribe thing added to the end of it. So if you click on the link, it'll ask you to subscribe as soon as you hit it. Most people will say yes to those things, and then they go back and say, I didn't mean to subscribe to that butthole, and then they unsubscribe. So, I'm doing what I can to get subscriptions, but I'm going to start losing viewing hours, and I've got to start making some videos. I don't have time to do it, so I'm just going to have to eat all of that until I can get some time.
Toy ladies again, just to make up the hours.
You know what it's like, Jonesy. You're fixing to be swamped too, man. I know it.
Yeah, I'm swamped, and I've also got a family vacation coming. My parents are coming from California, and so I'm not going to be available next weekend to do anything with you guys, and I don't know when or what I'm going to be doing next.
Yeah, so we're still going to be here even if the channel isn't. So here's what you do. In the meantime, watch reruns because all of that counts toward viewing hours. Love you guys. Hope you have a good journey. Hope I'll see you all tomorrow. And that's it for tonight.
Special thanks to the channel supporters. Without your help, these adventures would not be possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's adventure, please hit like, subscribe, and share the video.